I survived Hurricane Ian. Yes, Hurricane Ian made landfall right in the part of southwest Florida where I live. Now, my wife and dog and I and my friends and family in the area are all fine. We didn't have very much damage to our house, but friends of ours had some more damage. This would be kind of tough. There was a lot of destruction here. There was a lot. But, afterwards, I think about genealogy a lot. And I thought about some things in relation to Hurricane Ian. And I'd like to share those with you. We'll talk about that after this. Thanks for joining me, fellow roadie. This is obviously a little bit different episode than normal, and we'll get back to the normal ones. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit of my experience with Hurricane Ian. Like I said in the opening, we didn't have a whole lot of actual physical damage to our house. We had a couple of screens. We have an enclosed entry at our front door, screened in, and the two screens on the side were both blown out. But man, when we went to clean up the yard, my friend and I, the day after the hurricane, just my yard was just full of stuff, all kind of stuff. Lots and lots of shingles, Fortunately, not any shingles from my house, but from a lot of my neighbors' houses. We were very fortunate because about 6 months ago, we actually put a new roof on the house. The roof was the original roof and was about 20 years old. And it had lost maybe about a dozen shingles just over the course of a few storms we've had here, certainly not hurricanes. So we ended up going through our insurance and putting this new roof on. So no damage to our roof, but man, a lot of shingles from a lot of my neighbors were just all over the yard. I even had a porta potty from a house under construction 2 lots up from me that ended up in my side yard. I'm not sure exactly how that happened, especially since the neighbor right next to me has a chain link fence. So I don't know how that happened, but anyway, we feel very blessed that nothing much happened. But, I didn't realize actually even how close we came to maybe having some serious problems until, maybe 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. I was walking my dog and I saw a neighbor of mine. We have a lot of canals in our city that were made when the city was made, I don't know, 50 years ago. It's been about 50 years. And he lives on a canal. I don't live on a canal. I can't afford to get a house on a canal. But when I was walking a dog, I saw him, and he brought home the thing that does most damage in a hurricane, certainly around here, is not the wind, although there's certainly wind damage, not necessarily the rain, although there's some damage from the rain, but it's the storm surge. The storm surge is the hurricane, which was a Category 4 hurricane, very close to being a Category 5 hurricane, and it doesn't go up any higher than that. But just the wind pushes wind. This is on the Gulf of Mexico is where we live. And the wind pushes water in up rivers and up canals that are connected to the Gulf of Mexico that eventually lead out to the Gulf of Mexico. And that's where this canal was in my neighbor's house. Now, this was only, it takes only maybe 2 minutes at the most for me to walk to his house. And when I saw him, a few weeks after the hurricane, he showed me pictures that, and I never would have suspected this, the canal, the water in the canal, the storm surge came up so high, it came up just within inches of his house, within inches. He was ready with a sawzall to take his family up into the attic and actually cut an opening into his roof to go up on the roof if they needed to. Whew. But anyway, if that canal had spilled over, it would have come down toward my house, which is only, across the street and 3 houses down that street from there. So we could have possibly had some flooding. We came a lot closer to what I suspected. But please, just let me ramble on a little bit more about the hurricane, just to give you just a quick idea of what it's like. I just want to show you some pictures of. We're near Fort Myers Beach. We're a little bit less than 12 miles away from Fort Myers Beach, of course, a well-known area. Here is the Fort Myers Beach Pier before the hurricane and after the hurricane. Now, there's a lot more pictures that I'm not going to show you, but Fort Myers Beach was especially hard hit. And there are people that live on Fort Myers Beach. It's actually, the city of Fort Myers Beach is actually an island just across the bridge from Fort Myers proper. Now, a lot of these homes are older homes. They were actually swept away. There's actually a neighborhood. I won't even show you the picture because I don't want to look at it again. There's a neighborhood, sorry, of about 20 or 25 homes that were all just pushed up by the storm surge, all into a pile together, houses on top of each other. Just one example of the destruction in Fort Myers Beach. There's another town very close to us, a lot closer to us, called Matlacha. It's a little bit less than 4 miles away. It's directly on the water, too. It got hit hard. It got hit hard. There's a little restaurant we eat in. It's called Bert's Bar and Grill in Matlacha. It was a dive. It's an old building. It was built essentially over the water. But man, it was a cool place to go, just to sit, relax, have some little bit of dinner, an adult beverage, sit outside, watch the sunset. Here's some before and after pictures of Bert's Bar and Grill too. Sorry, folks. It's we're just so lucky, but there's so many other people that were not so lucky. I even have a sister-in-law lives down here. She had her enclosed lanai, the whole thing just ripped right off of the mobile home where she lives. Half of her carport is gone. She had some flooding, which just barely. I mean, it came up the steps to her mobile home. It came up the steps and was literally inches away from getting as high as the mobile home and getting inside the mobile home. They have a car that is totaled from the flooding. And once again, that's even one of the lesser damages that was done to some people. But let me move on to the genealogy part of this video, and I won't belabor the point too long. But what we need to do. Obviously, we need to watch out and keep ourselves safe. But you don't have to be in a zone where there's hurricanes for destruction to take place in your home that can destroy cherished older family pictures, even newer family pictures that you have in hard copy. Old family documents. I have old family documents. I have a baptismal certificate from my father from the 1920s. I have lots of other things. I have copies made of documents that I've found in courthouses, not in my area, they're land records, wills, and so on, that I have not transcribed or digitized. But man, there's so many things that could happen. There can be floods, there can be fires, just so many different things. And we need to prepare our families to be safe in the first place. And we need these different documents we've assembled during our time finding our family history to be safe also. I'm not going to do a whole lesson on how to do that, but the one thing I would suggest, and the one thing I need to take to heart, I've digitized some of the old family pictures, but not all of them. I would suggest you do the same. Digitizing is the safest way to preserve those photos and documents. Now, like I said, I won't go into how to preserve the original documents, like keeping them stored higher up and all that stuff. But the best thing you can do is to digitize all these valuable photos and documents, and even pictures of things that people have left you, that your parents have owned, your grandparents, maybe even your great-grandparents. Take pictures of those if you have them, and keep those pictures somewhere safe in the cloud. At a minimum, keep those digitized photos and documents on a small flash drive and send it to someone who lives nowhere near you, who would not be affected by any natural disasters that might affect you. Send it to them for safekeeping. But whatever you do, do what you can to preserve those photos and documents against any sort of disaster that might happen in your house. I know many of us won't even think that anything like that could happen to us. I didn't think it could happen to me. And it came close to happening to me. Listen, I'm not going to go on much further. I just want to say thank God that me, my family, and my friends, were all personally safe during this storm. Now, of course, you might say, Greg, well, why didn't you evacuate? Well, I could have done that, but for the longest time, they were saying that this storm was going to make landfall much further north in Florida than us. And pretty much at the last minute, probably 24 hours or less, they decided it's probably going to come right over us. And I've evacuated before when there was more time to do that and was on the interstate. And to say that the traffic was crawling, at its fastest, the traffic was crawling. And because it was so late for this storm, I figured it was better to stay in our concrete block home during the storm than be in a vehicle on the interstate during this storm. Whew. Folks, I would make one other suggestion to you, please. Find a favorite charity to contribute to that is helping people down here who, in lots of cases, lost their homes altogether. There's some people even down here who their homes were badly damaged and they want to fix them, but they're being told if they're a certain age, if they're older than I think 1981 or 82, somewhere around there, that they may just have to bulldoze the house. Even if they could and want to fix their homes, they might have to give up that home altogether and start from scratch. I would suggest maybe the American Red Cross. They've been very visible in this area. And you might have some other favorite charities or charities you think are reliable and that are helping people down here in Southwest Florida. I thank you very much for doing that if you decide to do that. So I would just leave you with telling you to stay safe, keep your family safe, keep your family history safe any way you can, especially by digitizing everything you can. Until next time, when I see you on the road to your family history. There, history for now. Trash can. This is one of my trash cans. Actually use one for trash, one for yard waste. I'll have to pick that up. And my backyard here. My bushes along the pull cage is good, and the pull cage itself is good. The structure is good, the screens are good, that held up well. There's my second garbage can. There's a planter over there that was over here. Got my neighbor's vinyl privacy fence, has chunks out of it. Piece of gutter that goes over there at the bottom of that downspout. And it did lose the screen out of the door. And I thought it might, because that screen was already partially disconnected. And this bush, once again, just like the similar bush over on the other corner, and yeah, this bush lost a lot of its leaves, And here's more of the neighbor's fence. I'm not sure what this is from. I don't think it's anything of mine, but probably the neighbor's. Yeah. This is my recycle bin, which just came from that pad right there. I'm not sure what this is. Yeah, and this bush took a little bit of a beating. This bush didn't lose nearly as many leaves as the same kind of bush in the back of the building. And we're back to the front. And that's the neighbor's vinyl fence. Their whole gate is gone. That's about it. Thank God that's all the damage we had. Others weren't so lucky.